Yeshua warned us, he said, many will come in my name, saying that I am he, and will deceive many. Number one, we got to understand what he said. What he said was many would come in my name. They weren't saying, and this is the confusion that most people are under, is they are not saying that they are Yeshua. They are saying that Yeshua, Jesus or Yeshua, was the Messiah, and they're teaching in his name. Yeshua said that I come in my Father's name. He wasn't declaring that he was the Father. I don't believe by what he said. He was the Son. He said he claimed that he was the Son of God. And he said he came in his Father's name. That meant he came as a representative of the Father. When he said the same thing, only he was saying, many will come in my name, all he was saying was many people would come teaching in his name. In other words, that they are the followers of Yeshua that came and left approximately 2,000 years ago. And this is where it becomes interesting. And Yeshua said right at the beginning when asked what was the sign of his coming in the end of the age, the first thing he covers is deception. Above all things, the details about the second coming and the events that are portrayed in Matthew 24, Mark 13, and Luke 21, and the book of Revelation, and all the prophets, the main thing that we want to understand is there are going to be many false prophets, according to Yeshua, and they will deceive many. And we're not talking about the false prophets that you see at the newsstand, the different people that are predicting the future. We're talking about people that use this book. They use this book, and they're going to deceive many. I propose to you that the reason why they're going to deceive many is because they do not understand the concept of repeat and enlargement in the prophecies. They do not understand how to layer the prophecies on top of each other and get the correct understanding of the prophecies. And somebody might say, well, who do you think you are? Well, that's yet to be determined. But this method of interpreting Bible prophecy is getting clearer and clearer and clearer. And people that will look at it with an open heart to look at it are starting to see that as well. And this method of Bible interpretation has been from the beginning. And I'm going to make that clear as well. This is God's method right from the beginning. And if we will look at the way the Bible's put together, it is repeat and enlarge right from Genesis chapter 1. And we're going to be looking at that. In the time of Yeshua, the teachers of the law had the prophecies confused. They were expecting something different than what Yeshua was telling them was going to happen. And that's very clear. We can see that. But these were the teachers of the law. Don't miss this point. If you miss everything else, don't miss this point. The people today that are the teachers of the law, and I'm going to let you interpret what I'm saying, the people that are the teachers of the law are confused on the fulfillment of the prophecies of the second coming and the millennium. Now somebody might say, what gives you the authority to make that declaration? Well, I don't believe I'm the one that's making that declaration. Yeshua himself told us that. I'm just putting it a different way. He said, many will come in that day saying that we've prophesied, don't miss that, prophesied in your name. Now, if somebody was back then and they said, well, what's your name, Yeshua? He would say, well, it's the name my mother gave me when I was born, because that was the name that the angel gave, because the Father said to the angel, make sure you don't forget to tell Mary and Joseph what his name would be, and it would be Yeshua, not Jesus. It would be Yeshua because he would save his people. Yahweh is salvation. He would save his people from his sins. Take the words out of his mouth, and what did he say? Many will come to me in that day. Have we not prophesied in your name? And his name is Yeshua. Now let's really nail this down. When I was telling somebody this, they were saying, now that gets complicated. And here's why it gets complicated. Because that means, if we can take Yeshua for exactly what he said, which I think we can, that means that those that are preaching prophetic things in the name of Yeshua are going to be ultimately rejected by him when he comes. Now that's a pretty serious thing, but that's what Yeshua said. So now let's make it simple. We haven't learned anything from the past. You see, nothing ever changes because, for the most part, human nature never changes unless it's actually been reborn and not portrayed as being reborn. You see, in the time of Yeshua, they decorated everything around them, and they wore rich robes, and all their tzitzits were exactly in display for everyone to see, and they wore all the prayer shawls, and they looked perfectly in part. But inside, according to Yeshua, they were not followers of the way. Is it possible that we have the same thing playing out in the time of the end? I say, according to Yeshua, we definitely have the same thing playing poured out. Because he said there would be many false prophets. And he was not talking about, these false prophets in Confucius and these other things that are these other religions. He was talking amongst us. There would be many false prophets. And he said, don't be deceived by the false prophets. Well, that's where it gets confusing for us, is that there are many teaching prophecy in his name, the name of Yeshua. And Yeshua said, according to his word, not mine, he said they will deceive many. This is where it gets confusing. This is where I say we all need to be students of prophecy for ourselves. We cannot take someone else's word for the prophetic word. We've got to be in possession of the spirit of prophecy, the one that inspired the prophets ourselves. It doesn't mean that we're all going to have visions and dreams, although that will happen to a great degree. But the understanding is for no private interpretation. It's interpreted by the same spirit that gives it originally.